Hey, goodness to you, and welcome to Glue Wednesday. And I say goodness because I never know whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening that you're tuning in. But isn't it great that good is the word that goes before each one of those? Look, I'm also checking to see. Man, yeah. You know what? Uh, my backgrounds are reversed. Okay. All right. Well, see, now I know that. I just want to let you know I was just looking at some technology, and it's been Tech Wednesday. We always have those. Fortunately, the message will be proper. It's just that now I'll be sure not to cut my face off when I deliver it. All right. In fact, for instance, watch this. Okay. Welcome to Glue Wednesday. Right now, Glue Wednesday, I always get on early. Hey, what's going on, Roger Carroll? Yeah, they're turned around. Yeah, right. This time I got it. I see it, but I'm not going to let that get me this time. I said, okay, let's put that up there. Boom, and get that shout out from Roger Carroll. That's why I come on early. By the way, it's on Wednesdays. It's my interactive day, and I come on early so I can do my shout outs, but also give you a chance to get tuned in. And the reason that I created Glue Wednesday is because so often we hear people say that Wednesday is hump day. And I say that because, old school, we were like, hey, you work Monday to Friday, and then there's the weekend, as if there were no sliding time frames. All right. That's how we used to do it. And we had fun doing it. I ain't mad at us. We set the table so that change could happen. Oh, you got to remember that. But anyway, I said that Glue Wednesday, we don't have to look at Wednesday as hump. We need to look at Wednesday as the middle of a traditional 7-day week, regardless of when you work, regardless of flex time. So Wednesday keeps the beginning of the week and the end of the week together. And that puts it in my prayerful mode, and that's why I call it the glue, because it keeps us together. But what is the glue? The glue is God's love, and it says that. Oops. Go back. God's love. That's right there. God's love undoes everything. Wait, we got less than 3 minutes for today's message. Breathe. Okay, I have just breathing, and that becomes a key though. You do have to slow down, even if technology is beating you up a little bit. We got less than 2 minutes for today's message, but that's why I come on early to get some of these things straightened out just in case. And so then, hey, what I'll also do is you make all the adjustments. You make all the adjustments when you make the adjustments. Bam. Okay, and so, but the words are not reversed, though, are they? No, the words and the slides are in the right order. So, Roger Carroll, we're good, right? And we got less than 2 minutes to go for today's message. All right, because I also double checked, and I'm looking on my cell phone as well. So the words are in the right place. So look here, I'll show you a little tip. See, and notice what my head did is I'll block the sign that's behind me that's in reverse. So, hey, who knows what people are going to look at? And that's fine. Just the background is reversed. Yeah. Okay, there's my tech person. And you know what? We got less than 2 minutes, but think about it. Think about that sentence. The slides are fine, just the background is reversed. What's going on in the background of your life? Because a lot happens there. Sometimes what you're saying is fine. The slides are fine. Your life is going fine, but it's what's going on in the background that could be reversed. And we're going to come up on that a little later in today's broadcast to show you that sometimes it's what's in your reverse is the reason that the slides are fine, because the background is reversed. Roger Carroll, you know about that. So it's going to be coming up in just less than a minute as a part of today's message. Always think about that. See, that becomes the key. Every message is a message within a message. And, even when I get inspired to write my messages from having conversations, something that someone says inspires the next message in me. And so remember how I always say, choose your messengers carefully and recognize that you're carefully being chosen as the messenger. Well, that means that, the message is going through you and through someone else. So be open so that the through can happen. I have to be open to let somebody else come in so that I can let what they say go out, and vice versa. Okay, so it's 1 o'clock here on the East Coast. So let's get with today's message, because that's just what I'm talking about. It's Glue Wednesday. God's love undoes everything. Now, I started Glue Wednesday back in 2017, and on Wednesdays. And then when the pandemic hit last year, I upped it to where I had it on Glue Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So what we did, I'm gonna get my hello in there from Vic. Hey, well, hey, we miss you too, Vic. It's good to have you back. That's why I took a break and pause for the cause and get your click and your comment in there. My family. Vic and Roger Carroll, two of my favorites, and you'll see why. Yeah, but you always know we're all favorites. But check this out. So I went Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And to get me going to think of what can I use for the next message, because now I was having to come up with a message every other day, I created what I call the GAS series. And GAS is GAS, the Glue Alphabet series. So what I did is, as it shows in the promo, is every week we would focus on a certain letter, words of a certain letter, but you knew that the next week our focus was going to be on the next letter in the alphabet. So I always tell people, drop words in the thread for the next letter that we're going to cover. So for instance, today we're going to be covering the letter Y. Well, let's see, but don't worry about dropping in anything for the letter Z, because we already covered it. But and you'll see that that's a part of today's message. But that's what we used to do. So if the letter was A, people would drop words with the letter A in there, and then they would hear me use words with the letter A. I'd use them the next week, and then the following week the letter would be B. So people would drop words with the B in there. Okay, so that's the key. And you got it. When people put stuff like this up there, you got to go on and print it. People, all of the people in your circle are the best people. Think about that. So if you went from the A, so that's what would happen if we were on the letter A and B was the next letter. So Roger Carroll would have just put that in there, and the B would be best. And I got a little something for best too. And you know what? Because she's taking me off script, I'm gonna go off script, because that's what I do on Wednesday. It's my interactive day. And as a speaker, you prepare to speak. It's just like I always say to people when they say, oh wow, you get paid that much money to speak. When people talk about wanting to be in the speaking business, I say, no, we don't get paid to speak. We get paid to prepare to speak. And in preparing to speak, what you do is you have to let what your audience, what your people are saying to you come in, so that you can know what to share out. So Roger Carroll just gave me all of the people in the circle are the best people. Well, she knows that best is one of my affirmations, one of my passing thoughts, BEST, better, easier, smarter, and tougher. So you always have to be your best. You don't have to be perfect. You have to be your best. Think about it. When you have a child, any of you have children, and they're in youth sports or athletics or any kind of programs after school, whatever it is, and they do something and they don't do their best and they feel bad. They lose a game. They break something. They don't get the mark they want. And what do you say to them? Stupid, you got to replay that game. I can't believe you're so dumb. You passed, you didn't fail that test. Don't you say to them, did you do your best? Did you do your best? That's how you can help them. So ask people to do their best. Be better than you were last time. Things will get easier because you'll get smarter based on the fact that you've gotten tougher and more resilient is the word we're using more in these days. So that's what best is all about. So thank you, Roger Carroll, all of the people in your circle. And that's not just me, your circle. Those are the best people, the ones who help you do better, make things easier on you, help you get smarter or stronger, and then help you stay tough. All right. So that's what we've been doing with the GAS series as the Glue Alphabet series. Okay. So what I decided is that this week's message will feature the letter Y. And everybody who dropped something in the thread last week becomes my co-authors. So my co-authors this week are Ramona Hopkins, who gave me yielding and yearning. She gave me 2 words. Roger Carroll gave me yummy. Victor Morris gave me you. And Tony Onyango gave me yacht. So all of those words will mix into the message to become my co-authors. But our message today, the title of our message today is Reroute. Reroute. Okay? And when many think about making a change in direction, a lot of times you may have heard them say, well, you know what? When my ship comes in, or hey, it's my time. But what I want to add is that when your ship comes in, it may be your time, yet it might not be your turn. See, that becomes the key. Change and changing directions takes patience and even some recall. So yeah, your ship may come in, it might be your time, but it might not be your turn to make a move. That takes us back to what Roger Carroll said. That takes us back to that best. All right. And you know, the people who help you become better, make it easier on you, make you smarter and tougher. Those are the people that help you recognize and have the patience so that when your ship comes in, recognize it may be your time, but it's not your turn and you have to wait. You have to wait. So always remember change and changing direction. And that's the subtitle today. Change and changing direction takes patience and even recall, because you have to think back, what did I do to make it through this storm? Your track record says that you've made it through each storm, right? That's why you're still here. Trusting your track record, laughing at your lack record. And the lack record, for those who've never heard me say it, the lack record is when someone says, well, I don't have this and I can't do that. And so they think about what they lack to move forward. And they let that thing stop them from moving forward. But if they say, well, I don't have this, but I want to do that, so I'm going for it anyway, and then they make it. So now they can laugh at what they thought they lacked, or even maybe they did lack it, but maybe you find out you didn't really need it. That's something we're going to talk about today's message. I'm giving you spoiler alerts not to keep you on the edge of your seats, but because I just love how God sends them through you based on what you want me to say. Isn't that something? You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up, all right? But what I'm recalling today is that even though the feature letter is Y, and that this is our second time going through the gas series, you know what? This is unofficially message number 122 in the glue series since January 2020. And that's in addition to the Mondays and Fridays. We had some special edition glues in there as well. So that's a lot of glue, a lot of ships, a lot of turns, a lot of time, and a lot of turns on a long path. But one thing that you have to know about a path is that it comes to an end. That's why I've chosen today's topic. You see, we've already done the letter Z, as I mentioned earlier. So Y is now our final letter. And let me get that, Vic. Vic, 120, he gonna play the number. I had to go on and put that in. Isn't that something? Somebody say, oh, so I'm going to play that number. Okay. Hey, I ain't mad. Whatever you can do to bless. All right. Do your life. Do your life. So anyway, so what was I saying? So we've already done the Z, and Y is now our final letter. So first, what I want you to do is I want you to think of that sentence that I use. I said, that's a lot of glue. That's a lot of glue. Path changing is about expressing God's love and directions through yielding to his will. So what I'll do today is I'll honor the glue one at a time, one letter at a time. That's a lot of glue. Yeah. So let's honor the glue one letter at a time. First of all, The word God's love undoes everything. God's reminds us that there is ownership. You belong to God. That means that there's ownership. Even as it sets up our pursuit of the next letter, we profess who we belong to so that we can prepare and position our need. Remember, we talked earlier about what you need versus what you want. Our need and appreciation for who's steering our ship. When we do, we get to inhale and exhale a sigh of comfort. Follow the sentences, the 5 sentences with me. We get to inhale and exhale a sense of comfort, a sigh of comfort. We get to look around and see that we're on a yacht. We get to open our mouths and say, you can't touch this. And you get to hear the angels sing psalmly. And psalmly is a word that I made up because it rhymes with calmly. But did you see the 5 senses? And I'll just say it again. You get to inhale and exhale with a sigh of comfort. You get to look around and see, hey, we're on a yacht. We're not just on a ship. My ship hasn't just come in. I'm on a yacht. We get to open our mouths. We get to open our mouths and say, you can't touch this. Why? Because of ownership. I belong to God. You can't touch this. And so that's why we get to hear the angels sing. Because that's what when we're in heaven and we're hearing the angels sing, and sometimes the angels are what Roger Carroll mentioned earlier, the best people, your circle of friends, your best friends, those are the angels. Those are the messengers. What are they singing to you? What are your messengers saying? And as they're saying it, is it sweet music that helps you move forward? But see, when people say stuff to you, they're singing to you. And think about songwriters. Think about songs, right? A song is trying to help you do something, feel an emotion so that you can do something. That's the same thing people are doing. Everybody doesn't have the voice that sings, but they're singing through sharing their words, giving you advice, calming your nerves. So that's why I call it the psalm. I call it, instead of calmly, I call the psalms the calms. Let me write this down. Okay, yes, your lifetime friends. Yeah, you gotta have, and lifetime friends make a difference. Boy, Vic, I will tell you though, you can't make this stuff up. Put a needle in that, put a thumbtack in that. And again, I didn't check with Vic before writing this, but just remember what he just said. Your lifetime friends. Watch this. Watch God. And then what Roger Carroll said, because I got to laugh about it. You said it's accepted that song. Yeah, it's a valid word. Context, right? Context. I used it in a sentence in the how did I say that in a sentence? Because like I said, I made it up, but I said it so far. When you hear the angels singing psalmly. See, so so you can replace when you hear the angels singing calmly. But think about it. The book of Psalm is all about calming our nerves. And that's one of the things that's one of the reasons I made that up. Because here's what I want to say to you is that the Bible that I read is called the Touch Point Bible. And at the beginning of each book in the Bible, it gives you a modern day introduction to what the book is about, so that as you're reading it, you understand more about what the scripture is saying. So here's the end of the introduction to the book of Psalms. It says, the book of Psalms allows you to discover and appreciate the incredible range of human emotions within you that allows you to respond to life in so many ways. And then remember that the ultimate goal of each psalm is to praise the God who created us. Calm and ownership. The G in glue is that God is my owner. And that's what I want you to say to yourself. God is my owner. See, you can't make it up. Let me go over there. What'd you say, Roger Carroll? Our Bible study has been on Psalm for the past 6 weeks. God has no coincidences. That's why I like to say to people that we are on the implementation crew and only God is on the planning committee. And I got a good friend of mine in LA had just emailed me the other day saying you've been on my mind, and I cracked up laughing because I swear to God, 2 days before that she was on my mind. And she just made the action quicker than I did. And so when I told her that, she said to me, similar what you just said, Roger Carroll. She said, and she put in quotes, I've been learning to look at the coincidences and laugh. She said, because when they come up in my life, I remember there's a call to action for me to do something or get ready for something to be done. And so I was glad that she did that and got to me. So G, God is my owner. Okay. The next letter in glue is love, LOVE. And let ourselves value everyone. See, everyone yearns to be loved. And just like the song, looking for love in all the wrong places, we have to make sure our path is looking in the right place, and that is within, because that's where your owner dwells. Last night I got together, the reason you see that promo there is that last night I got together with a group of my friends, and we created a demo of commercials that you'll see starting tomorrow of us using my passing thoughts cards as a reflective game to engage people in conversation. That's something that we need to do as we continue through this pandemic. And I remember that Erin, she had one of the passing thought cards that said mercy, MERCY. May everyone recognize Christ in you. And then the subtitle says, practice what you preach and preach what you practice. You see, that's just to remind us, are we giving advice that we wouldn't take? As Roger Carroll talks about going through the 6 weeks and it's still in the book of Psalms, we're learning what we can preach, because it's what advice are we going to give out? As Victor talks about our lifelong friends, lifetime friends, he's saying, what have we inhaled? What messages are inside us so that we're saying, look, this is what I did versus this is what you should do. See, that's the difference between practicing what you preach and preaching what you practice. What do you do? And are you giving people advice that you wouldn't take? So that's the love and that's the value that people want to see. When people see you, do they see who's in you? Do they see God? Are your actions speaking? Are your actions speaking louder than your words? Or are your actions even speaking at all? In other words, what you value is what you worship. God's love, glue. God's love is what I value. That's what I want you to say. And I should have said that after the first, because we're going to take each letter. So we did God's love is what we'll say. God is my owner. Say that. And thank you. And then now God's love is what I value. All right, let's move on. Undoes. God's love undoes. Undoes. To undo something means to alter it from its previous, not necessarily its original state. One of last night's passing thought cards that was shared was loss, LOSS. Little obstacles strengthen spirits. In retrospect, even a loss has its blessing. Now, I believe it was Holly that had that card, and she shared how sometimes what we may lose is an addiction. We may lose a person, or we may lose a problem. We may lose an addiction. We may lose a person. We may lose a problem, or we may lose a person who was a combination of the other two. Thus, it becomes a gain. So it's a little obstacle to strengthen our spirits. How can you take a word that is perceived as negative and turn it into a positive thing to guide your life? That's why you always hear me say as well, control your vocabulary. Don't allow your vocabulary to control you. A loss is just a little obstacle to strengthen spirits. And this is where you come in, Vic, and like I smile, Because that's what I'm saying. We've heard and we love the cliche. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Where you at, Vic? People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And you see, the thing is, we have no control over the reason and the lifetime that people come into our lives because God sent them for a reason that you'll connect to them for the rest of your life. So you'll need God's help in controlling the season. How long are you going to let them stay there? How long is it taking you to get the lesson, bad or good, from the people that God placed into your life? How long will it take to undo or renew their subscription based on the reason that will stay with you for a lifetime? God is going to help you with that season because you need his help. All right. Undoes, Glue. Let's say it together. God's love undoes and does what I can't control. God's love undoes everything, but it undoes what I can't control. You can't control the people who come into your life because God sent them there. See, that's how you have to start looking at the people who you consider knuckleheads or who get on your nerves and you don't like, whatever category you put them in. You have to realize that, just as Roger Carroll said earlier, it's not a coincidence. God sent that person into your life. If the person is negative, then God sent that negativity into your life so that you can learn to value the positivity. And then you have to log that positivity in your journal and recognize that, you know what, hey, wait a minute, I've seen this before, and here's what I did to overcome it. So I can do it again. Track record again versus the lack record. Excuse me. So it's so important that you recognize that it's not a coincidence. God's love will undo everything that he has, any negativity he has put in your life, he will show you how to take it out. And that's why we have to look at the next letter is GUE, and that is everything. Everything. Everything means to leave nothing out. Duh. But you know what? That's the thing. You know, how many times, we're given all these second and third chances. Everything means God's love undoes everything. It means to leave nothing out. In the book of 1 Samuel 15 and 13, I'm not going to post all these. I'm just going to read these. Samuel says to Saul, now go and completely destroy the entire Amalekite nation. Men, women, children, babies, cattle, sheep, cattle, and donkeys, everything. And as we thumb down to 1 Samuel 15, 8 through 9, it says, and I'm partial on it, Saul captured Agag, the Amalekite king, but completely destroyed everyone else. Saul and his men spared Agag's life and kept the best of the sheep and cattle, the fat calves and lambs, everything, in fact, that appealed to them. Thumb down to 1 Samuel 15, 20 through 21, partially. And then Saul says to Samuel, but I did obey the Lord. See, because Samuel said, no, God told you to get rid of everything. And you still, what's that noise I hear in the background? I'm hearing sheep and cattle. What's that noise? Okay. That's what Samuel said. And Saul said, no, but I did obey the Lord. I brought back King Agag, but I destroyed everyone else. Then my troops brought in the best of the sheep and cattle and plunder to sacrifice to the Lord your God in Gilgal. Click on over to 1 Samuel 15, 22 to 23, partial. Samuel said to him, listening to him is much better than offering the fat of rams. So because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you from being king. Now, as well as my Touchpoint Bible having introductions to each book of the Bible, one of the reasons it's called Touch Points is because what it does is it takes certain scripture and puts on it what is called a touch point. And that is a little extra emphasis on how you can. I'm being all serious. I'm gonna go with you, Roger Carroll. Let's take a laugh break. Everything. Because see, that's the touch point in First Samuel is that God said, get rid of everything. So here's the touch point, and I'm gonna read the touch point to you because the touch point is decisions. It says that First Samuel is talking about decisions, and it's First Samuel 15 and 23. Here's what it says. And this is not the Bible scripture, by the way. This is the modern day explanation that decisions. Choices have profound consequences. In Saul's case, he gave up the privilege of being king, not only for himself, but for all his heirs to come. What price tag could be put on that loss? What did Saul get for it? Temporary ownership of a few sheep and ox. We are prone to think that a little decision, no matter how wrong, will not really hurt us. Is a one-night affair worth an unwanted pregnancy, venereal disease, or the breakup of a family? Is one dishonest act in a company worth the loss of reputation or the possibility of imprisonment? Is a little lie to a loved one worth the wall of distrust that is erected when you're found out? Every day, as Roger Carroll said, every day we choose many times and in many ways what is the quality of life, what our quality of life will be. We read, every day we choose many times and in many ways what the quality of our lives will be. It's the decisions that we make. And GLUE, and say this with me, God's love undoes everything that keeps me from doing his will. God's love undoes everything. There's the glue, y'all. That's a lot of glue. God's love. So when we built it up, what did we say? God is my owner. God's love is what I value. God's love undoes and does what I can't control. And God's love undoes everything that keeps me from doing his will. Remember what I said earlier about the new path? Change and changing direction takes patience and even recall. So we're changing, we're rerouting. Next week's glue will start up a new path. And because I enjoy, look at you, Vic, patience. Let me put that up there. God gives me patience. And it becomes then your duty to keep it. There's that season. God gives you the reason and the lifetime because he says you should be patient, but you have to control it. It's not easy. Let me not beat anybody down. Patience is tough to hold on to because soon as someone gets on our nerve, we go right there. That's what that's what it's saying about the Psalm, is that the emotions that go through, no emotion is wrong. What we do changes the light on the emotion. So you should be patient. You should be angry. You should feel sad. You should feel excited. All of these emotions require some sort of action. So you have to have that patience to deal with change. Because when you change and you change directions, you have to be patient. It's not going to come instantly. And you have to recall the steps along the way so that you can reach back and help somebody else. And so that's why I say as we change, next week's glue, we're finished with the Gas Alphabet series. So we're going to start up, not down, a new path. And because I enjoy how God supplies food for thought, I know there's going to be a yummy path. So be sure to come and get fed as well as come and feed. As you see that those were the comments those comments from Vic and Roger Carroll fed somebody. And if you're watching this on the tape, the replay, go on and put some comments in the thread. You're going to feed somebody because we need to hear from so many different people. That's why the background that you see in my promo is puzzle pieces. So that's what you have to remember to do. So what I want to do is I want to thank you to all who've co-authored with me through the GAS series. Thank you, especially in my main co-authors have been Roger Carroll, Victor, Ramona, and Tony. But there's been several Haas. I remember Haas being in there. I remember Martha. I remember Daphne. Okay, so I hadn't planned on remembering the people. Zettines, a lot of people have contributed and been my co-authors. Thank you. So I thank you all. Then I thank you to all who sent me email and encouragement, because you've been my silent co-authors. The people who send me a message, thank you for sending out your fun letter. And if you're not subscribing to my monthly fun letter, the Golden Brick Road, you need to let me know. I need your real email address. You can put that, not in the, you can put it in the chat, it don't matter. And then I can put you on my mailing list and make sure that you get the Golden Brick Road once a month. And then also, even with these, every week I send my 3 broadcasts out in an email as well. So that's something that you can also use. And then I want to thank all of you for watching, commenting, and sharing. And see, here we go again, Vic. I want to thank, because most important, I want to thank God for reminding us that we don't have to hump on Wednesday, or any day as much as we need to keep it together. And I'm going to first put up what Vic said: be safe and blessed. Have a blessed day. Wear your mask, even though he's not hooked on phonics with that. But I put that up first because I want to show you that what I had as my closing is that, please, it's not just about telling you better wear your mask. What I want you to do is remember that the pandemic is not over. It's not over. We're going through it. And you may be around people who've never worn a mask. See, we think, I've been vaccinated, so I don't have to wear my mask. There's some people who just never wore a mask and they haven't been vaccinated, and they just chose not to do it. You know what? Some have not been able, or some people have not been, or even been, they've been unable to be vaccinated. I have a friend who, because of their allergies, one of my sisters, because of her allergies, she can't get vaccinated right now. And so, let's not, that's what I meant. I had to laugh at you, Vic. That's why I say, let's not be, you need to wear your mask. Come on, y'all. A person's not going to hear your message when you bark it as an order. That's just practicing what you preach versus preaching what you practice. Explain to people, this pandemic, we're still going through it. Medicine is called being practiced. We've never been in this pandemic before. Our doctors and scientists are doing what they think is going to help us win this battle. And so we lost round 1, 2020. We've done a better job of swinging out in 2021. And so we're letting a few people out to see before the crowds start to grow and grow. But while we're doing that, it's not because it's over. It's because we've abated it. Let's see what we can do as we let 3 people out. Oh, how did those 3 people react? They did good. Okay, let's let 3 more out. And I'm using 3 as a low number. You can make it 30, 300, 3,000, whatever you want to make it. But that's what's going on right now, is we're finding out if we've got the right formula. That God, remember reason, season, lifetime? God has put, this pandemic here for us to learn something. So we have to recognize that there are people who've never worn a mask for whatever reason. And there are people who have not been vaccinated or been unable to be vaccinated. And that becomes one of the keys. That's why I say to you, we don't have to hump. We have to keep it together. And that's what I was liking what Vic was saying. And that's why I'm here with you for Glue Wednesday. And I'll be here next week on our new path of Glue Wednesday, because God's love undoes everything. Thank you. God bless you. And again, start looking out for those commercials that let you really see how you can use the passing thoughts cards in your life. They become um, a wonderful game to play, because you don't have to play them as a game. What the commercials will be doing is showing you some of the different ways that you can use passing thoughts. Because what we share are mental moments. And that's what I want you to be able to do with me and with your people, is just to share the passing thoughts. Okay. So make sure you go to sportyking.com. You'll see the full description of them. Go on and order your pair so that you can figure out ways to play the game, not just with me, because I do want you to play the game. Come online and play with me. Spoiler alert, that's going to be one of the options. But also use it to play with your friends and family and help people continue to get through this pandemic by using key aspects of their communication. That is how they feel. Thanks. God bless you. And I'll see you next week. Ciao.